Okay, let's dive into this. A press tour for what is probably the biggest movie of the year has somehow turned into a public trial of a celebrity friendship. We're going to break down the viral moments, the fan theories, and the crucial context that you might be missing behind the whole online debate surrounding Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. So what is really going on here? Let's get into it.
Is anyone else tired of seeing them both? I mean, this is the kind of comment you're seeing all over social media, aimed right at the stars of the new Wicked movie. So, why is their relationship causing such a strong and, let's be honest, such a divided reaction? On one side, you have people who see this beautiful, supportive friendship, but on the other, people are seeing something that feels obsessive, kind of cringeworthy, and maybe even performative. We're about to unpack the exact moments at the heart of this whole day.
All right, to really figure this out, we're going to follow the evidence. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at how this press tour put their friendship under a microscope. Then, we're diving straight into those viral clips everyone's talking about, that now infamous Aura interview and the big shift in Ariana's public persona. And stick with me, because after that, we'll uncover a critical incident that could honestly change how you see everything. And finally, we'll look at their latest show of solidarity.
So, yeah, the Wicked press tour. It was supposed to be all about the movie, but it pretty quickly turned into a trial by social media. The focus just completely shifted to the intense bond between the two leads, with words like obsessive and cringe just everywhere. Every single glance, every touch, every word was getting captured, clipped up, and scrutinized online, turning what should have been a normal promotional tour into this public dissection of a friendship.
Okay, so what are these key pieces of evidence that have fans basically playing detective? Let's break down the viral clips that are fueling this entire debate, starting with the one that really seemed to kick the whole thing off.
Believe it or not, it all started with a water bottle. In this clip, you see Ariana seeming to struggle just a tiny bit to open a bottle, and Cynthia's reaction? It is immediate. She's like ready to lunge in and help before Ariana can even ask. This super small, seemingly meaningless moment was one of the first to go completely viral, and it really set the stage for everything that followed.
And right here, this is where you see the two camps forming. The exact same moment seen through two totally different lenses. Was it just a sweet, considerate friend being helpful, or was it overbearing? Almost like she's keeping tabs on her. This fundamental disagreement is really at the core of this entire controversy.
And then, there was the wrist grab. So in this clip, you see a man who's reportedly part of their team playfully grab Ariana's wrist. You can see on her face she's laughing at first. But Cynthia's reaction is anything but playful. It's immediate, it's intense, and it completely changes the energy in the room. And just like that, another flashpoint for the online debate was created.
This moment perfectly captures the big question here. Is this just a genuine protective instinct kicking in, or is it a performance for the cameras? Skeptics point to this exact interaction, with some saying, look, Ariana was laughing until Cynthia grabbed her, and then she realized she had to act like something was wrong. It really turns a playful moment into something much more serious. And the helping did not stop there. This pattern just kept popping up in different clips. You've got Cynthia adjusting Ariana's giant dress, helping her upstairs, even physically guiding her onto the stage. Now, any one of these moments on its own could just be a nice friend helping out. But when you see them all together, it starts to build this powerful online narrative that paints Ariana as someone who's almost helpless and totally dependent on her co-star.
But it wasn't just the physical stuff that got people talking. For a lot of viewers, the peak of this intense connection, the moment that really felt the most bizarre, came from their answers to a pretty simple interview question.
The question was simple enough, right? Describe each other's aura. It's the kind of light, fluffy question you'd expect on a long press tour. But their answers, and especially the super emotional exchange that happened right after, were anything but simple. In fact, they just added a whole lot more fuel to the fire.
So Cynthia's answer for Ariana was pretty sweet. Yellow for me, sunshine. Also purple. But Ariana's response for Cynthia was so specific and poetic, like a seal blue and like sunset orange. But honestly, what really sent the internet into a spin was Ariana's tearful reaction afterwards when she said, "I'm so moved by that response." For a lot of people, it just felt like this over-the-top emotional reaction, solidifying their belief that this was no ordinary friendship.
But to really get why the public reaction is so strong, we have to look past these individual moments. A huge piece of this whole puzzle is the dramatic shift that people have noticed in Ariana Grande's public persona. It's a change that's left a lot of her longtime fans feeling kind of disconnected and honestly pretty confused.
The whole old Ariana versus new Ariana thing has become a huge trend online, with tons of videos comparing the two. Early in her career, she was known for being super direct, confident, almost brassy, with a lower speaking voice. But now, she often speaks in this noticeably higher, softer voice, and her whole vibe seems much more shy and reserved. This change has left so many fans wondering, is this real growth, or is this an act?
My Nona was a ball-buster. This quote from an old interview is the perfect example of that confident, no-nonsense Ariana that so many fans remember. It's just such a stark contrast to her current, more demure persona, and it's a big reason why these new press tour clips feel so jarring to people who followed her for years.
Okay, but what if we're all missing a massive piece of the puzzle here? What if there's a reason for all the hypervigilance, the intense emotional bond, the constant helping? Because right before a lot of these clips were filmed, something pretty traumatic happened that could change the way you see everything we've just talked about.
9 days. That is the shockingly short jail sentence a man received after he disrupted an event and specifically targeted Ariana Grande in Singapore. And this wasn't just a random person. This was a repeat offender known for going after celebrities. To a lot of people, that sentence felt like a complete slap on the wrist, adding a layer of real injustice to what was already a terrifying experience.
We have come through some shit, even this last week. In a really emotional speech, Cynthia Erivo directly referenced this shared trauma. And when you hear that, suddenly everything just clicks into place. Her protective instincts, that intense connection, the constant watchfulness. It's not just cringe anymore. It could be the bond between two people who just went through a really scary ordeal together, far away from home.
So, how have they responded to all the public criticism and this underlying trauma? Well, in the latest chapter of this whole saga, the co-stars have put on a very public united front, a show of solidarity that has, you guessed it, once again, completely divided the internet.
So when Cynthia unfortunately lost her voice and had to cancel her press interviews, Ariana's team immediately announced that she would be doing the same exact thing, in solidarity. Seems like a supportive, loyal friend move, right? Well, not everyone saw it that way. And just like that, the internet split right down the middle again. Was this a beautiful act of friendship, of them holding space for each other? Or was it a calculated move by Ariana to avoid facing the press all by herself, without her bestie there to act as a shield? The two sides of this debate are as dug in as they've ever been.
So, what's the takeaway here? We've seen how a few isolated, out-of-context clips can build this incredibly powerful but maybe totally false narrative. We've seen how a changing public persona can make an audience feel alienated. And most importantly, we've seen how one single piece of missing context, in this case a traumatic event, can change absolutely everything. It all leads us back to this one fundamental question. In the age of social media, where every interaction is potential content, can we ever really separate what's an authentic connection from what's a public performance? And when we're watching celebrities, do we even want to? The case of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo really suggests the answer is far from simple.